Hey, all right, welcome back to Raff's Brain, a show about things that are interesting to me. I am your host, Rob Raffety. It's time for another walk and talk episode, an opportunity for me to pontificate as I get some steps in. I'm trying something new here, folks. I got an early Christmas present. You see what I'm wearing? These are these really nice Bose headphones. I don't know if they're connected. I'm still figuring out how to work them, but I'm going to wear them. I'm going to wear them as I go on a little walk here this morning and record my walk and talk. However, I have a feeling that the actual audio is being recorded by the phone, not by the microphone in the headphones. I don't know what I'm doing, folks. I gotta set my watch, though. I gotta get the steps in. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you don't hit the workout, if you don't hit that up, it doesn't happen. So we're doing an outdoor walk. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go. Where are we going? I don't know. Around my neighborhood? Does that seem like a good idea? It's always a good idea to get some steps in. But I kind of like walking around my backyard first, checking things out. I see that my dog has been having fun. My dog apparently grabbed one of my shoes. He's prone to do this. Conan, the crazy mutt. Essentially, if you ignore him, you do so at your peril, because he steals shoes to get attention. So I gotta throw this shoe back in here real quick. And that's gonna be a recurring theme. We hear a lot about animals on this walk and talk. That's gonna be something that comes up a lot. I have a lot to discuss. Dude, Conan's gone through quite some changes, transformations. He just lost a digit. Did you know that? I mean, he's doing all right. I don't know if he can tell. I think he's doing all right. But he had an operation. I think I mentioned that. He had this growth on his toe, kind of like a giant wart, I guess would be the way to describe it. But we got that fixed. It took about 2 weeks to heal. Hey, there he is. What's up, buddy? He's doing all right. Look at that. You can't even tell. They said his gait would be unaffected by this operation, which is encouraging, because there's nothing more important than my dog's gait. Yeah, so we had this toe removed. Let's see if we can get a little shot of that. What's up, buddy boy? Hey, look at that. Let's see. Let me see the little toe there. Let me see that. He's kind of missing the toe. I don't know if you can see that. You can barely tell. It's already coming back in, babe. The fur's coming back. You're looking good. He's running around the backyard just like the good old days. He's pretty indestructible as far as dogs go. I'm impressed with his resilience. It's an inspiration for all of us. Perhaps, as we age, our bodies fall apart. This will happen. It's inevitable. Or is it? Is it something we could proactively address? That's what I do with my walks, with my yoga action. Whoa, look at that! He's running. He's great. What are you doing, man? Wow. He's really motivated this morning. That's a fantastic dog right there. He's so cool. 14 years old. Still kicking. What is 14 in dog years? Or in human years? 14 dog years is the equivalent of what? Who set that up? What is the calculation. I used to think it was 7 years for every... Is that right? 7 years for every dog year for a human. So 14, I do my math here. So how do you do math? There are lots of different ways to do it. Some people just might know their multiplication tables. 14 times 7 equals something. Here's how my brain would break it down. I would say, if I had 14 times 7, 10 times 7 is 70. That's easy. 10 times anything is really easy. That's very convenient. Then you go 4 times 7 is 28. That's a basic multiplication table. I know those basic multiplication tables from memory. I don't know if that's popular anymore, if that still happens, but I used to know, like, 7 times 2 is 14, 3, 21, 4, 28. It also helps that 7 is a football number. I do much better with football numbers. 3 and 7, I can do multiplicatives of those, man. Like I know how to multiply. Anyway, so 10 times 7 is 70. And 4 times 7 is 28. 4 touchdowns with field goals. I guess 6 and 1 is really the number I'm talking about with the football. And now, because it's 2-point conversions, that's been going on for a while. Actually, the football numbers have changed, man. The football numbers have changed in ways that are astounding. There's some dude who kicked a field goal last night for the Chargers. And I don't even know what happened. There was a fair catch, and then they were able to make a field goal, but it was like it wasn't like a normal setup for a field goal. It was just like he was kicking the ball off. I didn't understand what's going on. Apparently this hasn't happened in like 50 years. So kudos to somebody who's reading the rule book. I mean, I didn't even know this was possible. After a fair catch, you can attempt a field goal. Who knew it? I didn't know it. And it's rarely going to happen, because most of the time if you're getting a fair catch, you're going to be so far away from any distance that you could do a field goal with any credibility. But I think the guy made it was like a 57, 58 yarder, because after the fair catch there was a penalty, and I think a major penalty, like a roughing the receiver. I don't even know what the penalty was. Something was 15 yards. It happened. Back to the numbers, though. What were we talking about here? We're talking about 7 times 10 is 70. 4 times 7 is 28. 70 plus 28 is 98. Holy moly, my dog's 98 years old? Did you just see him? He was running around. He was running around like he's completely fine. Well, I'm happy for him. I hope I can have that much energy when I'm 98 years old and I'm missing a digit on my left foot. And it's really not an important digit. As they said when we got the operation, it was called a non-load-bearing digit. So they were very confident. The vet was like, yeah, I'll just take that off. 2-week recovery. He had to wear the cone for 2 weeks. That was brutal. No dog likes to be in a cone. I totally get it. I wouldn't want to be in a cone. I wouldn't want to be in a straitjacket, something that confines you like that. Oh, man. So, he recovered pretty well. Stitches got out on Monday. He still licks his paw incessantly. It's like he's obsessed with that space. I guess because animals lick their wounds, right? That's a saying. I'm going to go lick my wounds. What's fascinating to me is, yes, I've seen lots of animals do that, mostly dogs or bears on, National Geographic TV or whatever. Animal Planet. How many different channels? This is crazy. I mean, there's just so much on television. There's so many outlets of content. I just said National Geo, Nat Geo TV, Animal Planet, but there are probably 30 separately operated. I mean, I don't even know where that number came from, 30, but there's an enormous number of channels that are dedicated simply to nature. Like, is there that much demand? How do these things work financially? I don't understand any of this stuff, man. I don't know anything about the world. It's a very, very confusing place. Anyway, I guess my dog's 98 years old. That means he will very soon be 100. This is where my math breaks down, though. This is where my capabilities are very limited. If I wanted to calculate how much time it would take for him to turn 100, 7 doesn't go into 100 evenly, so that kind of messes it up for me. It kind of makes it challenging for me to calculate. It's because it's going to be 14 years and so many months. My point is I want to celebrate my dog's 100th birthday. So how do I do that? The other big problem here, this is probably the more like fundamental problem. It might even be what we would call, what would we call it? We would call it catastrophic. There's some other word that I would use though. Terminal. It's the word that means it eliminates the possibility of the exercise even happening. Gosh, there's a perfect word. The thing about English language is there's always a perfect word for everything, and right now it's escaping me. But it's a word like catastrophic or terminal or final. I can't remember. It'll come to me. But what I'm getting at is there's a fact that's missing from the information that I have about my dog that prevents me from ever credibly celebrating his 100th birthday in human years, because we have to translate that from pet years. That requires you to know the birthday of your dog, right? To some degree of accuracy, you have to be able to identify the month, at least, I would say. We just simply can't do that. He was adopted at some point. They said he was like a year old. I think he was younger because he actually grew a lot more than we expected. It's cool. It worked out. Everything's all right, man. But I won't be able to ever really credibly celebrate his 100th birthday. We could do it in a sense, like roundabout, like approximate. I wonder how many pets don't even know their birthday. I bet it's the majority, frankly. Really, it'd be the pet owners, not the pets. The pets aren't super sentient. I guess they are sentient. I should look that word up. What does that mean? Sentient means like coherent. Are you sentient? He just came out again. Are you somewhat sentient? He doesn't want to talk to me. It's cool. I don't blame him. No one wants to talk to me. I wouldn't want to talk to me. This lunatic running around with a selfie stick in his backyard, getting steps in on a Friday morning. Who does that? I do that. Raffety does that. Until he gets the courage to step out into the neighborhood like this, this is how it's going to go down. Will he ever get the courage? That's a great question. I think that's a knowable question at the moment, because I kind of like walking around my backyard in circles. Oh man. I don't know about the selfie stick as a concept. I'm using it here today. It's kind of this one's very sturdy. It's not like the original. If you think about like 20 years ago when selfie sticks started to really come out in mass, they really were a stick, like a thin pole, sometimes like had like a telescopic feature typically, and you could extend it way out. And anybody that had one of those was a complete goober. I think I had one or two. Of course I did. You know me. I'm always on top of the trends, baby. I'm super narcissistic, self-indulgent. I gotta take as many pictures of myself as possible to have evidence that I existed. So when the aliens come up here and uncover my digital footprint, they'll have some record of my life. It's kind of chilly out. I've only been out here for probably 15, 20 minutes, but it's maybe 35, 40 degrees. It's gonna warm up a little bit. It's not super cold, but my hands are a little nippy. I can sense that if I had too much more exposure out here for a couple more hours, I would go numb. Hey, he's back. He keeps coming back. He keeps coming back. What's up, pal? I think he's kind of camera shy. It might have been that when he lost his digit, he doesn't want people to see that. He might be a little sensitive. Kind of like if you get a new haircut and you don't like it, you don't want to go out in public. You certainly don't want to be on YouTube. I'm probably giving him a little bit too much credit. He doesn't know what he's doing. This is the thing. I think we, as human beings, we project so much upon our animals and pets. We think they know a lot more than they do. Or am I wrong about that? It's probably somewhere in between. I don't know. I'm just saying, does he even realize that he's losing a toe? Does he even know what happened? Does he have any memory of that? I don't really understand how sophisticated the memory is of a canine. But yet they smell. Apparently a very sophisticated sense of smell. He just sniffs around all day. That's all he does is he sniffs around in the backyard. But apparently it's very much how they see the world. The way that most humans, that would be kind of a visual auditory experience. Dogs do a lot of olfactory. What can we learn from them? I don't know. Have you ever played the game where you try to go down a sense? So touch, taste, sight, sound, smell, right? Those are the 5 senses. You try to restrict one so it might enhance the others. And there's stories about this. When people lose one of their senses in life. Did I even get this right? Hang on a second. Touch, taste, sight, sound, smell. Are those the right ones? There might be a 6th sense. I don't know if that's true. Great movie. But yeah, if you're down a sense, if you either by birth or injury, you have limited or reduced or eliminated access to a sense. Apparently, your other senses fill in the gaps. It enables you to be more perceptive in ways that you wouldn't if you had a more well-rounded set of senses at your disposal. This is where he gets stuck sometimes. He's kind of slow. He can make it up the stairs still. At a certain point, though, your joints just get tight, rigid. I don't know if it's arthritis. I just think it's just the wear and tear of life. The dude's almost 100 years old, human years. Do you think many 100-year-old humans can just skip up a flight of stairs uninhibited? I don't know. time to replace the deck furniture, dude. What is going on? What is going on? How does something like that happen? What's the life cycle of a lawn chair? How has that evolved over time? How long have lawn chairs existed? I don't know. It's a great question. It's sort of like a lounge chair. I'm going to bet for a long time, but maybe they weren't super accessible to the masses like they are today. I'm pretty sure kings and queens had lawn chairs at their disposal. And they probably didn't get them replaced very often because they probably weren't used all the time, you know, like only the king or queen could sit on the chair. The chair was super high quality, handcrafted. But it didn't have some of the benefits we would think of today in terms of the modern technology, weatherproofing. So I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I said something earlier that I regret. I don't regret it. I just mean I want to take it back. Now is the time to redo the lawn chairs. Maybe, or maybe not. Do you wait for the pre-summer sale, like the springtime sale? Hey, get your new lawn furniture. Or do you do it now as winter is approaching when there's very little demand? But these are really busted up, man. Those are really busted up. They need a lot of work. This one's not salvageable. I think this one is, not only has it seen better days, I think its final days are approaching. It sucks though, because theirs are kind of expensive, man. You know, deck furniture is not cheap. How much time should we be getting out of it? How much love and attention should I be giving my lawn furniture to extend the life cycle, the lifespan? I'll be very candid with you. We get those chairs, they come in the mail. I throw them out on my back deck. I lay down in them. And maybe like 2 years later, I gotta chuck them in the trash because they break. Is there something I could be doing better other than losing weight so I'm not such a fat butt on the chair? Ultimately, that's probably what the number one driver is. And of the two chairs, which one do you think I sit in the most? Hint, the one with the big hole where your butt goes, right? Like, clearly, I've got issues. So that's on the to-do list. Lawn chairs, deck furniture. You know what else is kind of falling apart? I've just noticed it as I've been walking a lot more out here lately. The concrete is starting to crack. We might need some weatherproofing this year. I remember when we first opened the pool, it had a very glossy veneer. Water resistant. It was like Thompson's water seal. I know that's not what that is though, because that's more like for fences. But there was an equivalent prophylactic on this. Chemical prophylactic, I guess, would be. I don't even know if it's really a prophylactic. I just think that's a funny word. Actually, as I'm sitting there really looking at this is kind of dirty, bro. This is kind of dirty. You got some mold and algae. Or is it just age? Is it just the sun and rain and weather that gives it this condition? But dude, there's cracks everywhere. The cracks are just crazy. Crazy cracks. We got crazy cracks. I guess the pool's about 10 years old, maybe 8 to 10. We should look that up. Everything does fall apart. It's just a matter of time. Nothing's forever. My hands are really getting cold now. I'm shifting my hands in terms of which hand is holding the camera, and I'm putting the other hand in my pocket. I got one hand in my pocket and the other one's holding a selfie stick. I mean, say what you will about Alanis Morissette. Is there any dispute that that album, the name of which escapes me at the moment, is among the greatest 90s albums? It's killer, man. Every song. And I would argue, I'd have to listen to it, it's been a while, but as I recall, I think the sequencing was on point. That's such an undervalued thing these days. Understandably, who cares about the sequencing of soundtrack? No one cares. No one even pays attention. But if you're of a certain age and a certain era, it does matter. You know, Dark Side of the Moon, Pearl Jam 10. You know, like these are albums that as you play them and hear them in your car, you anticipate as the one song ends, you just get ready for the next song to begin. Appetite for Destruction. You know what comes after Mr. Brownstone, right? I mean, and then there's like a balance too. There's some type of energy, usually kicking off strong. And after a few songs, you dial it back a little bit. You get your ballad in. You don't start off an album with a ballad. You work your way into that. You get it to a point where your audience needs a little bit of a rest, a breather. You got to start off strong, though. You got to capture their attention. Like, you got to hook them right from the start, you know? So, yeah. Audio sequencing, soundtracks, is very important. Underappreciated art. I would say it's not just underappreciated, it's like not even valued today. Who the hell releases albums? Nobody releases albums. When's the last album you bought? Raffety? When's the last anything? The world is so different. It's just changing so rapidly. I was on the internet this morning just Googling around, and there's a guy, I think it's like Kai Tanat or something like this. He's like the top streamer, and he's dominating the streams. I think he's a gamer, streamer, entertainer. Hundreds of millions of viewers and hours consumed. It's crazy. And I bet most people, no offense to this gentleman, but a lot of Americans wouldn't even know who this dude is if they walk, sit next to him on a Greyhound bus, right? Like, that is a fascinating thing right now. The idea that some people have a pretty significant following, a devoted and loyal fan base, but still, it might even be in the tens of millions, but yet that's only a sliver, right? Like, there isn't a kind of monoculture. That's been gone for a long time. For better or for worse. Probably for better if you really think about it, but let's not go there yet. We'll talk more about it some other time. I do have a nostalgia, man. I think about when there was a more uniform sense of what was going on in the world. There was something about that was kind of satisfying. Like, Who Shot JR? Everybody watched that episode, right? Or the last episode of MASH got something like 70 million viewers. And it was just a cultural force. It was cool growing up in that time because you could go into school or go to college, whatever, as a younger person that I was at that, in the 80s and 90s. And there was these like cultural touch points that would come up in conversation, and it was something everybody else knew and understood. It wasn't like, hey, did you watch the Kai Tanat stream last night? Who are you talking about? What's streaming? What is Discord? Or so many platforms. Holy moly. Oh, well, I see on my clock here we're approaching 30 minutes. That's usually my goal, to get like a little 30-minute walk in. I like it. It goes kind of quickly. When I have the selfie stick, I'm a goober. I'm walking around in circles in my backyard with my hoodie on. I got my Bose headphones. I don't know if the Bose is picking up the audio or if the phone is picking up the audio, but I'm indifferent because as long as the audio is getting picked up, I can use it. And, you know, the hoodie covers up the Bose headphones, so don't look too crazy. But assuming I do have the courage one day to walk outside and do my walk and talks in the neighborhood, I'm going to have to pull my head. I'm going to have to go out there with just the headphones like this. That's going to be really weird. Selfie stick, headphones, Apple Watch. Dude, I'm all teched out. All right, well, it's been a good one. Thanks for joining me for a little walk and talk in the backyard. Stream of consciousness style, as I'm prone to do. Knocked it out, got the steps in. How far have we gone? Oh, a little bit more than a mile. That's what I like to see. That's a pretty slow pace, though. I got to pick up the pace in the future. I think part of the problem is when you're just walking and talking in circles like this, the Apple Watch doesn't count it as much. That's a deficiency. You've got to have to write a letter to Steve Jobs. All right. Enjoyed this experience. We'll see you next time on Raff's Brain Walk and Talk. Have a good one. Bye-bye.